Hey guys, RanterInShades here, exercising my first amendment rights vlog style. About 3.5 years ago, I made a collaborative skit with my good friend TheRandomGangsta about introducing metal bands, that our old friend Demon Dog famously missed the point of. This is going to be a detailed video about how to not only get me to listen to a band, but to get others to as well. This doesn't apply with just metal bands, but other styles as well. I love learning about new bands. I get really excited when a band I've never heard of before that plays in a style I enjoy is brought to my attention, and I give them a listen to see if I like what they're doing. My favorite thing about making the second edition of my Music I Like video was adding in all the bands I had gotten into in the 2 years since uploading the original video, and I look forward to doing that again whenever I decide it's time for the third edition. One of the biggest problems with metal elitists that I've noted in a number of the videos I've made about them over the years is how they think the way to get people to listen to good music or real metal is to belittle their taste. I'm gonna let you in on something. That's not gonna make them feel inclined to check out your bands. They're gonna look at what you're saying and take it as you just being an asshole for no reason. And like I said in the Death to False Metal video suck video, nobody wants to learn anything from an asshole. So what are they gonna do? They're gonna ignore your recommendation and continue listening to the music that they know appeals to them. The best way to bring a band to someone's attention is to appeal to their taste. Draw comparisons with similar sounding bands that they already know. Since they like that sound, they'll feel more inclined to check the band out. For example, the way I've always introduced the band White Wizard to people is by calling them the American Iron Maiden, because I draw very distinct influence from Maiden and master that sound to a T. If you like Iron Maiden, you'll definitely enjoy White Wizard. I do a similar thing whenever I encounter a disgruntled 80s metal fan who thinks
all modern music sucks.
I name some modern bands that sound like 80s metal or are labeled as throwback bands of sorts, such as the aforementioned White Wizard, Crucified Barbara, Huntress, and everyone's favorite, Steel Panther. Or if there's someone whose go-to is 80s thrash, I'd recommend bands like Evil, Lazarus AD, Lich King, and one of my personal favorites in that genre, Havoc. Clearly there are no good bands from the 2000s, guys! In the video I made with TheRandomGangsta, I was doing the same thing. He, at the time, was just beginning his metal journey and established he was currently a fan of Bullet for My Valentine, Disturbed, Trivium, and metal elitist's favorite scapegoat, Avenged Sevenfold. So when I made my recommendations to him, I named some bands I figured he might like based on what I already knew about his taste, and I only gave a few recommendations as opposed to dumping an assload of names on him, which would have overwhelmed him. And one of the last things you want to do when recommending music is to overwhelm the person. By the way, in case anyone thinks my Music I Like video is just me dumping a bunch of names on my audience and that I'm a hypocrite for saying I don't do that when recommending bands, the video isn't there to overwhelm anyone. Its purpose is just to showcase names of all the bands and artists I enjoy to varying degrees and to make some suggestions for people if they're into the respective styles. Hence why I list the genre I have them labeled as in my iTunes library in parentheses. What I don't do when recommending bands for someone to check out is just name a bunch of random shit that I like without being considerate of their taste. If someone is wanting to get more into post-hardcore and they're a fan of bands like Finch, Chiodos, and Alexis on Fire, or is it Alex is on Fire, I'll recommend some lesser-known bands that I feel have a similar sound. If someone is wanting to get more into power metal and they enjoy bands like Sonata Arctica, Firewind, and Edguy, I'll do the same thing there. You won't see me jump in recommending one of my favorite bands in general, like Bayside for example, unless they're wanting to look more into pop punk or alternative rock. Bringing it back to metal, shoving a bunch of death, black, and thrash metal down someone's throat only works if that person is wanting to get into those kinds of bands, and it takes gradual pacing to warm up to those styles if they're new to them and decide to look more into them, hence why the term gateway band exists. Nobody's taste changes at the snap of a finger, it happens gradually over time. Stupid fucking furnace! If I can go on a quick tangent about the term gateway band, while my taste has evolved over the years, I still hold on to the stuff I enjoyed listening to when I was in middle school, aka the classic rock stuff. It's like I said in the Stick to What You Like video, I like having a varied taste and exploring multiple types of music. So while I have my preferred styles, it doesn't mean I outright stop listening to stuff that got a lot of plays from me back in the day. So that's pretty much why I've never really liked the term gateway band, since it kind of implies that the only purpose the band serves is to guide you down a path to looking into more technical and obscure stuff, and that you can't keep them around even for nostalgic purposes. But I understand why it exists and how it's applied. So now I'm at a point where stylistically, I'm down to listen to generally anything, unless it's a style that I cannot for the life of me get into. Hence why I say at the beginning of the Music I Like video to not recommend EDM, country, or black metal, because I'm not looking to get into those styles, and I know that after listening to them a few times, they just aren't for me. It all just comes back to being considerate of the person's taste. And again, insulting a person's taste by saying, "Your taste is pure shit, listen to real metal, you noob," noob, isn't going to make them want to listen to bands you like. Like I said, a shift in taste is a gradual process, so go easy on them. And if they're new to metal, like you imply with the use of the word noob, again, go easy and let them explore metal at their own pace. And who's to say their taste is gonna change? What's important is that they're taking a liking to music you're bringing to their attention. This is like I also said in the Stick to What You Like video, about how it's possible to enjoy both music that is considered mainstream and music that doesn't get mainstream recognition, and how it's not a bad thing. This should be less about trying to change someone's taste and more about spreading awareness of music that's new to the person. I understand you really want more people to listen to a particular band, and hopefully whenever more people do, you won't call the band sellouts. There are a shit ton of independent, unsigned local acts I know, from multiple styles mind you, that I take immense joy in showing people who are interested, but mocking a person's taste isn't what gets them interested in checking them out. If you're wondering why TheRandomGangsta isn't active with making videos these days, even though I really want him to come back into the game here, one reason is because he's pursuing band endeavors and is immersing himself in his local scene in Vancouver. He's gotten me into a number of bands from the scene over there, such as This Gun for Hire, who are a metalcore band, Paridolon, who are a progressive rock band, Death Preacher, who are a groove/thrash metal band, Thousand Arrows, who are a power/thrash metal band, and Apprentice, who are a progressive death metal band. He wouldn't have succeeded in getting me to check those bands out had he not described their style and appealed to my taste. And if you noticed, I did the same thing just now when I mentioned those bands. I noted their respective styles because I'm sure there are people in my audience that might or might not like those styles. And because I'm so nice, I'm gonna leave their Bandcamp links in the description if you want to check them out. Which I'm not forcing you to do, by the way. It is, at the end of the day, your choice whether or not you want to dabble in the bands from that scene in Vancouver. Before I end this video, I'm gonna tell you one more story about another one of my friends, Atticus the Death Metaler. When him and I were first becoming friends back in 2014, one thing he did a lot was spam page invites on Facebook for bands he wanted people to check out. I know he doesn't do this anymore, but I gotta say, Atticus, buddy, that's not how you go about it. All you were doing there was just annoying people by sending page invites and not even making a case as to why you think they might like what the band does. And as a result, I hardly ever clicked like on their pages, nor gave their music a listen, and I doubt other people did either. I would have appreciated much more if he had been direct by saying to me, "Hey Shades, I have a band I think you're gonna like. They sound like X, Y, and Z," as opposed to the late 80s glam metal band XYZ, "so I think you might like them." Apologies, by the way, for that terrible impression of Atticus. I love you, babe.
I love you too, bae.
Like I said, he understands this now, so don't look at this as me jumping on Atticus for no reason. He has gotten me into a melodic death metal band from Belgium called Oracles and made a case for why I might like them. And while I was already a fan of Sabaton at the time, when he made his review of their most recent album, The Last Stand, he did inspire me to look more into their work. I'm just hammering this into his head for the next time he wants to recommend bands to people. And funny, as I was finishing the script for this video, he was messaging me making a case to check out the band Rivers of Nile, which I shall do later, by comparing their sound to Fallujah. See, he did learn something. Hope this all makes sense. Don't be afraid to suggest stuff for me to check out because, like I said, I love doing it. But being considerate of my taste and drawing comparisons to other bands is what will really pique my interest and hope the band in question is as good as you say they are. It's no guarantee I'll love it, but I'll appreciate the effort. Thank you for watching this video, take care, and have a nice day. I'm Shades, and I'll see you next time.